Susan from Susan's Art and Junk Journaling. I've been wanting to make an envelope junk journal for a while where it's just completely from envelopes that I've gotten in the mail, and I'm going to continue with my theme of making something with supplies I've got. So I've taken envelopes and I glued them closed, and then I went through and I cut here, here, and here so I can open it up and then put some pretty paper on the background here. So I've got 2, 3, well, it's more colorful on this side, 4, 5, oh, I gotta glue that, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the one that I just opened is 10. So I'm going to go through on all of these and glue some pretty paper on the back, and then also either, well, I can use pretty paper, I can use book page, either or. And then I'm also going to cover the fronts of the envelopes too. And that's going to take an awful long time on camera. So I'm going to do a majority of this off camera and show you the results after each step. During winter, I bought a couple of Craft Smith packs of paper, 48 sheets, Garden Charm. They are only one-sided though, but there's all kinds of beautiful colors in here. And along with this one, I also bought this one as well, and I've got just some brown sticking in here just to protect it. But this has got some gorgeous colors as well. So I'm going to be trying to use up these papers because I've got them, and I'll show you what I get assembled. When I put the envelopes back together, I'm going to do a little thumb notch on one side, thumb notch on the other side, and then to help close it on the bottom, I've got this box of washi tape, and I'm sure I probably got it from Temu, but I've since deactivated my Temu account, so I have no idea if they still have it available. I guess Emu Life washi tape, 24 rolls. So there's all kinds of different sizes that I will put on the bottom of the envelope to help close it, of course, with glue. I've got so many cookbooks that I'm going to use cookbook page for the inside, and I'll show you how I'm doing it. So I've got a page cut out, and I tuck it up into where the crease is on the envelope. Then I take my pencil, and then I'm going to cut it just a smidge smaller than my pencil line. Put that aside, and then I flip this over. And I take my PVA glue and I go about a 1/4 inch from the edge, just back and forth. And then I've got, I just had it, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I just take a plastic card and just drag it across and spread the glue out fairly thin. But I make sure that I go to the edge. Then I take this and I fold it in half inside out. Ooh, didn't get that crease right. Here we go. Set this book aside. And then where the fold is the top. Just come to the edge, and if it hangs over when I'm done, I'll just trim off all the edges. Yeah, that's a little cattywampus, but that's okay. because once it's closed and covered, I'm not going to be able to see. And then I just take a little bit more and glue it on there, and that's what I'm doing with all of these. I was just going to mention, after I'm done gluing onto the envelope and there's glue spread out on this, all I do is take a wet washcloth and wipe that off, and then I can use it again. I've got the cookbook pages glued on the inside bottom parts of these envelopes. I had to remake one because when I was ironing, I melted the acetate or plastic windows, so I had to throw that one out and do it again. And it's turned out really stiff. Stiffer than I was expecting on all of these. It's added quite a bit of bulk onto all of these. So I think what I'm going to do next, I'm not going to do the fancy cover yet. The next step on the backs of all these, I'm going to glue this thin packing paper that I got from a garage sale in Denver for 15 cents. So I've got this big stack here, and it's real thin. So I think that's what I'm going to do next, is glue all of the backs of these envelopes onto here. I suppose I really don't need to do it, but what I don't like is this part here, the flap of all of the envelopes. That's why I want to cover them. So I'm going to do that step next. I've got that step done. I've got cookbook page on the inside for in front of the window, and then I've put on the back side that beige packaging paper because it's thin. So I've got those all done. Next, I'm going to work on choosing papers to cover these windows. I went through this Craftsmith Garden Charm one-sided 12 by 12 book, and I took every other page out. So each envelope is going to have its own colors. So and I'll show you after I get all of these covered. This time I'm going to use stick glue instead of wet glue. The reason why I used wet glue the first time is I was using what was on hand, and with 10 envelopes and having to glue on this side and this side would have eaten up way too much glue stick. So I will use the glue stick though for the covers. I've decided the neatest, tidiest way to do this is to apply the 12 by 12 sheet entirely to the front, and then I will come back with a X-Acto knife and cut the window out so there won't be any plastic there. It's wrinkly anyway. So I will go through and cover the fronts of all of the envelopes, and then I will start cutting out the windows. I've got all of the 12 by 12s cut to fit the front of the envelopes. Next, I'm going to glue them on and then cut out where the window is. I realized after gluing the 12 by 12 scrapbook paper onto these envelopes that I don't have to put the windows where they are. I can put them wherever I want. If I want to put a little window here and a little window on this side, I can, because I'll be folding these in half. So all of these, I can put the window as big as I want and where I want. And I believe the way that I'm planning on doing that, I'm going to try and use my paper cutter here. And put this underneath. I think what I'll do is I'll mark with a pencil where I want it to go, but then I can use the paper trimmer to make the window. If I were just making one of these, I would take my sewing machine and sew all the way around before I washi tape them together. But since I've got so many of them, I don't want to take the time to stitch all the way around. But I might stitch them in half. But I don't know. We'll see. I still need to make tags for these, but I did cut a piece of paper just as an example. On all of these, I was hoping to be able to fold them in half, but this is so thick that I don't think I'm going to be able to. So there you go. This is just an example of a tag that I can make for these. I went ahead and glued the right side on all of them. I had sewn on the bottom, but realized after I was done sewing that I sewed too close to the edge, really, because I wanted to glue on this washi tape. So once I glue on the washi tape, it just about obscures the sewn line. So on some of them, I didn't even sew. And then I made a little thumb tab. For the opening on each one of these, I made this 6.5 centimeters by 7.5 centimeters, and I placed it on each one of them to have the same size window. And I took out the cellophane, acetate, plastic, whatever's on them. I took it out of all of them. And then on the back side, it's just plain. So you can see, I just used my X-Acto knife to cut the opening on all of these. Of course, I'd make a tag that's a little bit more interesting than just a plain old blue tag. But I just wanted to cut one just to give you an example of what it would look like with the tag in it. Now, I had originally, like I had mentioned, wanted to fold these in half. And like I said, I glued theirs. So that's why all of these, I've got all of the book page that I had glued on from the cookbook is all, you know, facing up like it's supposed to. Like if I were to fold it. And then I took and turned it this way when I made the rectangle for this one. And the same with this as well. I made it taller versus wider. And same with this one. And since I'm not going to be able to fold these, maybe I'll let them dry till tomorrow under some books. I was thinking about putting them all in one book like one signature of all these envelopes. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with these. I have spent several hours on this, and I made so much more work for myself than I needed to. I could have just taken just a 12 by 12 and folded it over and made myself envelopes. So covering an envelope on the back and the front. So on the back, in the middle, on the front was a lot of extra work that really didn't need to be done. So I don't suggest making these like I did. Learn from my mistake. Just use a regular 12 by 12 and fold it. That was a lot of extra glue and a lot of extra work that was needless. But, you know, they did turn out good. You know, these are nice and colorful. Thank you for watching.